Hey guys, it's Niclas here from upgradetolife.com, and today, as you can see again, I have a wonderful guest with me. Her name is Genevieve. She's a member of my program, and today we want to do a little interview setting again to speak about some interesting topics such as her journey into manifesting, her successes, why testing the law is important, state shifting, and a lot of other things that we came up with. And before we go in, I would like to give the word to you, Genevieve, so that you can introduce yourself a little bit.
Okay. Hi, Niclas. And thanks so much for having me here. It's a true honor. My name is Genevieve Dietrich. I'm initially from Namibia, Africa. I lived across the world for 13 years, and now I'm residing in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm in the midst of establishing my own mindset, conscious mindset, and manifestation business.
Really cool.
So, yeah.
Exciting stuff. Yeah.
Thanks.
Just so that the audience and listeners know this also about you, since how long are you engaging in like the manifesting teachings and maybe specifically Neville's teachings, the law of assumption? Can you remember that when you started?
Sure. So I have been manifesting unconsciously for many years. I used certain tools and had also done some courses, not being awake, as they say, being quite asleep, but still using these tools, which have brought me many things in the past. And however, when I managed to rise to certain points and get my desires, because I felt like there was certain knowledge that I didn't have that helped me prevent from diving all the way down to the bottom. And that's now happened twice in my life, where I basically had everything I wanted and then lost it all, because there were certain things that I didn't know. And over the years, I have also managed to help like friends and family with those tools that I was using. But then last year, when I had that second deep dive, like I was just mentioning to you, probably around, I think, yeah, August, September, around that time, it was more I was quite excited on going on a new venture. So I'd found a job and stuff, and I kind of started from scratch. But I also wanted to find truth and purpose, and I think that's what I was seeking for most of my life, is just that truth and purpose. And because I've been doing so many different things in my life and never really found anything that I was really satisfied with. So I went on the internet and I searched and searched and searched. And as they say, what if you seek, you shall find, right? So I came across Neville's teachings, and I came across all kinds of great coaches and amazing people out there. And I must say, like, my mind was just blown. And I'm like, wow, this information is all out there. How did I not know about this? And but it was a lot of information that was sort of spread all over. So
Yeah.
I sort of went on a mission to try and patch it all together by myself, which I sort of for the most part did. But then when you and I had connected also through the internet, that when I found Upgrade to Life, I was like, okay, great. This is actually what I need. I need somebody who can put it all in perspective, all that information sort of bundled up in one, especially with Neville's teachings, because that's what Upgrade to Life is all about. And you really like nailed it so well on the head. It really just gave me that beautiful rounded off toolkit that
Yeah.
I've been applying in my life now constantly since. And yeah, I'm just so grateful.
Perfect. Really interesting journey. I'm happy that we came together. Now, as you know, when people start out to learn about the law of assumption, we have those goals, we want to manifest things. One big key topic that also Neville oftentimes mentioned is this topic of testing it, right? Applying
Yes.
it, not just listening to the videos, listening to the teachings, but actually investing some time to consciously do an exercise or really learn that we can, by changing our inner world, get new outer reflections. And you shared some amazing successes in our community when you started out to really consciously apply and test the law, working with your imagination. So would you like to share some of these exercises you did with people that are maybe more new to it, that haven't done it yet?
Yeah, absolutely. So also, the tools that you did supply was obviously one of the ones that Neville applied in his teachings back in the day, which was manifesting climbing a ladder. You know, which for most people seems very unheard of. Like, when in my life would I ever be climbing a ladder type vibe? And I put that specific one obviously in my imaginal act. And that was, I think that was the first one that I did manage to manifest, to obviously restore, or, you know, get the faith stronger in the law of assumption. So I applied it, and I think it took me about 2 weeks that I did end up climbing a ladder. And and it wasn't until I was actually painting the wall behind me. I don't know if you can see, and then next to it is that little step ladder. Okay, but now it's not little, it's actually quite high. It looks far away now, but initially I was going to use a chair to finish painting the wall at the top. And my uncle just came and said to me, why don't you just use the ladder in the kitchen? And I was like, oh my gosh, here it comes, you know. And I hadn't even thought of it. I didn't even know there was one in the house. And so yeah, it just popped up out of nowhere. And so that was the first. That was cool. And then I was like, okay, cool, it must be working for other things then as well. But simultaneously in my imaginal acts, I was also working on another one, was receiving a text message from a specific person or a friend or somebody we hadn't heard from in a while, that we didn't really necessarily have any resistance to. And so I did manage to receive a text message from that person during the Christmas period. And it wasn't, I probably hadn't spoken to them in about 6 months or something, you know. And I did receive a message from them. So that was basically a couple of weeks after I started the program as well, you know. And then I think the third one was, receiving a specific compliment from somebody or people. And the day I received the compliment, also, again, you know, a couple of weeks in, and the day I received the compliment, I received it 3 times from 3 different people in 3 different rooms. And that was just like, whoa, that blew my mind to the next level. And that's when I started seeing the results, and I started seeing how that actually is truthful and how that works. And also, sharing some of Neville's teachings with some of my really close friends as I was learning them myself, you know, teaching them to some of my close friends and seeing how they were getting results, like really crazy nuts results that also blew my mind. I was like, okay, so the stuff really is for real, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I think when I think about the audience right now listening to this, there are probably two kind of people. There's one group of people that are saying, yes, like I'm also testing it. This is important, and yeah, I should also do some tests. And then there's maybe one group of people that are listening right now to us that are hearing, oh, but how should manifesting a letter or a text or getting a compliment or things like how should this help me? Like I want this, and I only want to apply the law for this thing. Now, the question is basically, would you say that those little testings here and there really gave you like more faith, more trust, more confidence, more calmness to then also apply it for the bigger things? Or was it only a nice add-on? Or was it really still helpful, although it seems small?
No, I think that was extremely helpful, because I think what also you teach in your program quite a bit is that there is really no such thing as a big and a small manifestation, right? It's all a story that we are telling ourselves, and that resistance that we build up with ourselves. But because we put certain things on a pedestal, you know, like your specific person or money or whatever the case, you know. So, which we still call the big manifestations. But when we put less weight and like less resistance, as well as like detach from the outcome to the manifestation, I've noticed that, you know, it comes about quicker, which is what those little ones, like climbing the ladder, I had no attachment to it. I had no like anything to it, resistance to it. So that's why it manifested. And now, obviously, applying it with the bigger things, like we say, I'm already like without having necessarily seen it completely appear in my 3D. I just feel it, and it's sort of like I'm living in that knowing of it's coming, as well as seeing movement all around me in that in those areas,
Yeah.
right? I mean, like they say that birds before land, which we also shouldn't be searching for. It is just something that happens to appear, and then I observe it and I take note of it. I don't give it too much power, but still, it's there nonetheless. And I think yes, 100%. I am definitely applying it to the bigger things.
Yeah.
And yeah, resting in the assumption of the wish fulfilled.
Yeah. Interesting. One thing that you mentioned to me earlier is what happened recently with like your job slash career slash business circumstances, where you also, knew your desire, you started to shift states, and then you got certain impulses to do certain like really major changes to your life. I think that could also be really nice for the audience to hear on what your desired outcome is. Like you shifted into that, and then what you got the impulse to do without feeling a resistance towards it.
Yes, sure. I mean, look, I think for the longest time, naturally, even before having stumbled upon Neville and all these things, like I naturally have always been a person that is wanting to help people, or help, humanity as such, with,
Awesome.
I've always gone into like volunteering and that kind of vibe and helping others in need and whatever with those manifestation type things. So I think I only really discovered that is sort of more of a true life's purpose for me and something I need to steer towards in very recent weeks, that because people have actually then also been saying to me, you should actually just start a business and like not give your time and energy away too much for free, because it's valuable. And that's true. It's like the more you do this, the more you realize your self-worth and your value and self-love. Then you start saying, hey, my energy is and my time is valuable. So when I came to that conclusion, I was aligning more and more with that desire. And the current job that I was in, which was also only commission-based sales job, just really didn't resonate with me as much. Even though I enjoyed it, I just felt like it wasn't my true life's purpose. So then having lived in the assumption of, okay, now me starting my own mindset manifestation business, living in that assumption for however long weeks, I eventually had the impulse then to be like, okay, listen, I'm no longer aligned with this at all. It doesn't resonate with me, and it's neither fair to my employers nor myself or clients. So it just made sense to let it go, with no hard feelings, no bad blood, but to just let it go. So that literally materialized itself in the last couple of days. And I can't tell you how much lighter and happier I feel with that decision now, that knowing I can go full steam ahead with my actual desire, which now is obviously also starting to manifest itself more and more, right?
Yes.
That's that inspired action,
Mm-hmm.
that we always speak about, because people are like, oh yeah, you can live in your imagination and become delusional and stuff, but certain actions need to be surely required. And yes, sure, but like you will be prompted and you will get certain impulses and certain feelings that will basically lead you to the action and that inspired action to take to get you to where you want to be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly described. I agree with it. So one thing that you also experience, because we spoke about that too for quite a while, is this whole topic of like state shifting. This is, of course, what the teachings are in a condensed way are all about, right? We are in one state, we're always in a state, but what we desire is also a state which is currently not manifested, invisible, unseen to the world. And as we start to internally occupy it and shift into it, we express it. This is what you have also been doing in a great fashion, what you continue to do so. Now, I know that you shared in the community some nice insights on state shifting. So first of all, do you have any favorite techniques you like to use? Are you more of a person that is just like intending, just deciding like, okay, that's who I am right now, no compromising, going all in? What's your type of shifting into a new state / identity?
Okay, yeah, sure. Good question. I think if I look at my whole life as such, I've always been a natural state shifter without realizing that I was. And I think all of us are, right? I think it's just a natural thing
Definitely.
that we can do. I managed to like state shift into like what anyone might think is impossible. So I have done that in the past. Now, having applied the tools, or not the tools, but having applied the law of assumption and Neville's and your way, is basically that because of certain failures or limiting beliefs in the past that sort of set me back a little bit, that had obviously how do you say it, crumbled my confidence in manifesting for a bit. So yeah, scripting, affirmations, and then obviously meditation, which I find extremely important, which I've also been doing, and then incorporating the imaginal acts into my meditation. So yeah, I use a very nice sort of guided meditation that I've just sort of done in my head, my own sort of guided meditation. It's a lot of fun and colorful, and that then includes my imaginal acts. But now, having said that, those were just really like to get me to where I needed to be in my state. And the more I got used to it, the less I started to do them also. So now the tools that I really only apply is mainly my imaginal act meditation. The scripting and stuff I've sort of kind of let go more or less. And then when I'm going about my day and shifting if needed, because most of the time I'll wake up and before I do anything, I do the states akin to sleep with my meditation, and then before bed as well. And then obviously when I do it in the morning, it kind of leaves me in that state. Sometimes I sit before I even get out of my bed, I will sit on the side of my bed for 30 seconds to a minute with my eyes closed, and I become the person that I want to be. And as I get up, I walk about my day like that, and I see the world like that, and I get seen like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I think it was just yesterday I recorded a new YouTube video. Maybe by the time that we speak, this is already published, where I say that we can shift the states in seconds, right? It doesn't like always need to take 10 years, and then we can allow ourselves to be in that new identity or state. As you said, you can for 5 minutes even sit down or just ask yourself, how would I see the world right now from that perspective, from that viewpoint, from that identity? And then boom, it's an instant new feelings come, new thoughts come, and we are already in that state. So state shifting is not this mysterious, mystical thing as it sounds like, right? We speak about reality shifting, state shifting. It sounds so that you wake up tomorrow and the world looks differently. It's not like it is, right? It's really subtle, really smoothly. You don't fully notice it, but you can adopt this new state instantly. And I love how you practice that. That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, well, it's working. And I mean, everyone has their own tools, and whatever works for everyone's different. So yeah, those were just the ones that I used and that I applied, and they worked for me,
Yeah. Coming to my mind when we speak about shifting states, you shared earlier in the call some of the testing you did to apply the law to get really into being a doer and shifting consciously and all of that. And I remember there was also another success story that you had about a disorder, like a eating disorder, something along those lines. And I think that would be pretty inspirational, maybe for some of the listeners that do connect with those type of stories. If you would like to share it, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, 100%. No, I think this is such an important topic, especially for women and young girls and stuff. I mean, I remember like so vividly, and this was also part of the healing that I had to go through last year, right? Because when I had my awakening moment, I think the first thing I had to do was heal and go through like forgiveness and stuff, like, because having realized that, I create my own reality, and that the world as I see it and know it is basically just a reflection of my inner state, right? So there was a lot of forgiving to do, and also pinpointing the areas of that childhood in order to heal. And I remember when I was 13 years old, I was told by one of the doctors that, oh yeah, eating is gonna make you fat, you know, if you eat too much on this certain medication, you know. It was actually the pill that I was taking for acne at the time. And I remember that so vividly. And ever since then, I mean, I was a very sporty kid up until that moment. Always ate as much as I wanted, but then my belief system completely changed when she told me that you know, food will make me fat. So, and for probably now 23 years, it was a complete eating disorder. I had never had a good relationship with food whatsoever. I was always yo-yo dieting up and down for years and years, and trying to fix everything in the 3D world, in the 3D reality, and never really assumed the state of being as much, you know.
Yeah. Yes.
So that when I started applying the law of assumption and Neville's teachings, and you know, upgrade to life into my own life, I realized how I started practicing it with the eating disorder that I was having, because like I said, I had yo-yoed again last year when my life had crashed, because I basically attracted all my fears into my life. And one of them was you know, gaining weight, and I'd actually put on 25 kgs, and that is obviously something that, you know, I would like to just get back to my healthy BMI self, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just in the way I was always attempting it was not healthy, because it was that eating disorder mindset, you know. Oh, I would go on like these crazy fad diets, and then I would binge again, and you know, it was just nuts. And so since I've been applying all these these laws, the law, I completely healed that, in the sense that, okay, great, you know, like I'm eating when I need to eat. I eat whatever I want to eat. I have no restrictions. You know, I don't even like, and I used to also back in the day tell myself with every bite, I used to tell myself and feel guilty with every bite I was eating that, oh, it was going to make me fat, it was going to make me. So I basically just changed that dialogue and changed the script around completely 180 to the opposite thoughts. It took some time to get used to, you know, in the beginning, like eating for 23 years, telling myself the same script over, now having to change it completely the other way around. It took some time, and I'm still on that journey, right? I mean, I'm not there in my desired reality yet, but I know that it's coming, and I can feel it, you know, even though I've ditched the scale completely. Whereas back in the day, I used to be so obsessed with it. I would get on it like 2-3 times a day, you know. And now it's like, I don't even know where I stand right now, but I can feel it. I notice it. And that was actually one of the compliments I had received when the one I was manifesting through your program was, and I'd heard it 3 times when I went to this place, and the people had said, oh wow, Genevieve, you look amazing, you know, you've lost so much weight. And yeah, so yeah, and I know that it's all coming. So I'm just, whoever's got that kind of disorder, the law is the way. Yeah.
I think from this amazing, insightful story, what people also can learn, because I think sometimes people forget, is that they think that how it works is that they assume this new role, those new stories, like you also did about I no longer have this. They start to do this, and then some people think that it instantly like changes after one day. But what I think we can learn also from your story is that what first changes is how you like your thoughts, your feelings, that you know that it is already so, that internally you can clearly see that a movement has taken place, which will then over a unique bridge of unfoldment manifest itself. But if you can already notice that, you feel calm and stable, and you can see first movements already happening, like you said, and staying in that state is all it takes for it to be finally expressed. So I think first of all, people need to understand that first, the shifts are subtle, and on a subtle level, like thoughts, your reactions change, your reactions to food are going to change. And then you see slowly over time also the manifestation.
100%. I mean, it just made sense to me in the end that you know, why was it that certain people could eat all that food and not gain the weight, and why can't I do that? You know, like, so it just didn't, and then the law just made sense because their belief system is different. You know, so it had to do all with an internal state, like you were saying, you know, as within, so without. So, and we all know time is an illusion, right? So once you also detach from that time, you know, what's the rush? Also, it's much healthier in any case. But I also noticed that naturally, again, through inspired action, you know, I move more, I get out more, I walk the dogs on the beach, you know, I make healthier choices. So those are just natural things that, you know, I think are coming with it.
Yeah, coming from the new state. Yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect explanation. One huge topic that I found amazing when you actually shared that in the community as well was this topic where you had this huge revelation on, you know, that eventually what it comes down to is like being happy, loving life, loving ourselves more, feeling more whole, complete, all of those really subtle but really freeing and really peaceful kind of things that come the deeper we go into the law. Now, how would you describe that to someone? Because many people are still like only in for the manifestations, and then we learn how to get them. We know that we can get them. We start to get them. But then, as you also discovered, there is still a deeper layer to those teachings, right? They still bring us more than just manifestations. I'm not playing them down. They're really important. We should manifest.
Yeah.
But what did you share about your revelations about being happy in nirvana? You mentioned this in a really great way.
Yes. The state of nirvana. So I can't remember exactly how I worded it, but like if I were to summarize my revelations, it'd be that basically, ultimately, what collective consciousness, source energy, God, you know, whatever we want to call it, ultimately wants is us to be on a higher frequency and vibrating higher at our highest self, so that we have the capability of receiving, you know, and not living in that constant state of lack. And I think the way I then worded it was that ultimately it just boils down to being happy. You know, and I say that not being happy necessarily with accepting what is, but rather living in the knowing and in the faith of what's coming. Right? Because we are manifesting from this moment onwards, right? Because all we have is the present moment. So when we are, but we also don't want to stay stagnant, right? We want to continue growing, and we do want to see certain things materialize in our life. But in order to get them, as per my own personal experience now, from what I've gathered and learned, and as per research, is that ultimately, in order to get it, we need to vibrate higher, you know, and rise all in the levels of consciousness, you know. And I think if I were to sum that up, it'd be, I think that's what this whole life and humanity and creation on this planet for this experience is all about.
Yep. I agree. Happiness is a major factor that is, you know, not oftentimes covered, because it is more often in the manifesting community about the goals, the techniques, and persist and all of that stuff. But if we're not happy in life, then you can get the car, you can get the SP, you can get the relationship, you can get the health, but still you don't want that if you're then not happy. So still the underlying premise should always be that we're happy, that we're whole, that we're peaceful, that we feel fulfilled. And then from that perspective, manifesting is just more easy, more flowing, more fun. That's so important.
No, very, very important. And I think everything that you also just said, like maybe I may have added a couple of words in that text as well, is like there's ultimately being at peace.
Yeah.
You know, and not having that the fear and the constant like lack in our lives, and just being completely at peace and living in that knowing and having that faith, and that's it, you know, and being happy.
Cool. Cool stuff. Maybe some final topics or questions. Now, first of all, I know that people are listening to this right now that also are interested in diving deeper in applying those principles. And of course, in a couple of minutes, you're going to share where people can connect with you. If they also want to, be part of the community that you're in, like the program community that I offer, what would you say to these people? Like, would you say it has added value to you? Would you say it's basically like the YouTube channel and people can also get everything from there? Like, what would you say to someone that is listening and thinks about also becoming part of the Upgrade Your Life program?
Sure.
Now that you've been in it for quite some while.
Yes. So what I would say to anyone wanting to join it or contemplating is that it has added so much value to my life, like you don't understand. And I think the biggest factor behind it is, sure, you can watch as many YouTube videos, even your YouTube channel, as much as you want. I think it's that what we all seek ultimately, and how the message really comes across, is that human interaction, that connection, right? Where like we have the one-on-one and the weekly Q&As with you that help us answer any questions that we may have, or and also connecting with the community and like-minded individuals. Because when I first went on this whole journey, I felt very alone. Like I felt like there wasn't many people around me that were understanding what I was going through, and and being able to celebrate my wins with me, because it's woo at first, for a lot of people. So and I think when you are in that kind of community and everyone's on the same page, it's so uplifting and empowering, and it kind of just keeps you inspired to keep going, and to not stop. And I think that is, and also obviously the way the whole course is structured, it is so precise. I mean, that's the German in you, and I love that. It is just
German
so
quality.
Ja, genau, weißt du. So it's so precise and to the point, and like there's no like stone unturned, and that I think has just added so much value. It's money well spent, guys. Like honestly, like highly recommend it.
Nice. Yeah, thanks for those kind words, and maybe that does motivate someone to find out more about the program. Two other things. So first of all, do you now, for someone listening to this talk, because I think it's always nice to also have some practical stuff in it. We covered a lot of practical stuff already, but do you have spontaneously any final tip, message, impulse, thing to share with someone from the audience? Like imagine there right now hundreds or a couple of thousand people that are watching this video, and they are into manifesting, into Neville's teachings. They here and there have desires. Maybe you speaking to like a younger previous version of you. Is there something you would tell them as like a tip, something they can do right after watching our interview as like a practical manifesting advice? Anything that is coming to your mind?
Sure. I'll just apply my little social blurb that I put out today on my socials, and that's all about like the difference between having hope and keeping the faith, right? And so I kind of explained that a little bit, and was basically would like to just say, guys, have faith, like because if you're holding on to hope too much, it kind of puts a bit of that sort of more desperate, needy energy out, which we know is repelling. Whereas if you're keeping the faith and you're living in the assumption and walking in the shoes of the wish fulfilled, then you're gonna be golden, like in the end. Honestly, like I've seen it in my own life, I've seen it with friends and family, I've seen it with the community. It's just, yeah, so just keep the faith. That's really it.
Cool tip. Where can people find you? Like where can people that love your messages, that love to connect with you, how can you find you? Where can you find you? Where should they go? Just tell them.
Okay, sure. So I just launched a YouTube a few weeks back. I haven't been as consistent on my YouTube, but I am from now on. You can find me under Genevieve Dietering, so that's just my name. And you'll see the banner will say It's Done Diaries, which is one of my Instagram handles, which then takes me to my private, which you can also see then my private handle, which is Genevieve, basically. So yeah, and on Facebook, again, just my name, Genevieve Dietering. And yeah, I would love to connect. And you know, I love this. I love connecting with like-minded individuals. And so yeah, and if I can add any value to your lives, then amazing, you know.
Guys,
So yeah,
from my side, I highly recommend you do recommend with Genevieve. I will link all of the like links that you just mentioned in the video description, so that people can simply click it and find you and then connect with you. So do it, guys. You have nothing to miss. And Genevieve is amazing. I know it because I have been working with her for a very long time. So do it. And yeah, I think with that we covered a lot of amazing stuff. Nice insights, nice wisdom nuggets. And I hope that we could bring value to your lives, guys. And that would be it. Any final word, Genevieve?
that's it.
Okay,
It's done. You got
it's
this,
done.
guys. Done.
Goodbye, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.